Hi everyone, this is Emily and I'm a digital transformation consultant at Hyperbots. I'm very pleased to have Claudia Mejia on the call with me. Claudia is the managing director at Ikigai, and the topic that we'll be discussing today is that why industry is struggling to achieve straight through processing of invoices. And honestly, there could have been no better person to speak about this. So really glad to have you on board, Claudia.
Thank you, Emily. It's a pleasure to tell with you this morning. Thank you for having me.
Amazing. So to quickly start things, Claudia, let's start with the first question, right? What is straight through processing of invoices?
Well, basically, it's the process where the invoices come in and then we automatically can actually process them to the ERP system. It includes not only the data capture of the invoices, but the validation of the data and also the integration with the accounting systems. So it's usually a conceptually easy process, but it doesn't work as simple as it sounds.
So, Claudia, have you seen anywhere wherein straight through processing of invoices are being achieved?
Honestly, with my experience, I usually consult small and medium-sized companies, and I have not seen a through end-to-end process that is seamless. It usually fragmented. You have various stages to the process, and you have a lot of manual manipulation and validation of the data. So it has been one of the challenges that I have seen with the CFOs. The procure to pay process is challenging, it's very manual, it requires a lot of effort. However, with Hyperbots, the solution, we have seen that this is the solution that has been able to bridge all these gaps and actually bring the invoices from beginning to end very, very seamlessly.
Great. So, because you mentioned, Claudia, that the process is a little fragmented, especially in the small to mid-sized businesses, what are the primary challenges that you have seen in achieving straight through processing of invoices?
There are several issues, right? When you receive invoices, you receive it from different sources. You have portals, you have emails, all EDI, all kinds of sources of information and different type of formats, which that means you have structured data, unstructured data. Is very hard to control that variability in one aspect. Taking all that data and integrate it into legacy systems that they are not flexible in nature. So those have been some of the challenges. And on top of that, you have the resistance to change. Corporations don't want to change their workflow. They're fearful to the technology. The new technology that we see with AI is new, but it's very powerful. I have seen it that is really amazing for this process. But those are the challenges that most companies have regarding the procure to pay.
So, Claudia, if any organization is, say, PRPO driven, is it a better fit for straight through processing of invoices? As in, what should a company do if most of its purchases are still without a purchase requisition or a purchase order?
Well, POs and PRs structures are very important for this process, right? The more you can standardize this process in the beginning of the process, the better is going to be the data validation through the process. So you want for that process to be very standardized, the templates, the formats, but it's not as easy, right? But my recommendation for the companies that don't have a PR structure is just to try to standardize those processes because once you bring the technology on top of that, then it will make the whole process a lot easier.
So, Claudia, since the chart of accounts and GL codes in each company is different, GL coding of each invoice is difficult to automate. Why is it so, and what can be done to handle it?
Well, GLs have all kinds of structure for different companies, right? So it's very difficult to just standardize one chart of accounts. But the solutions that now we have with Hyperbots is that the system now can learn by itself. So something that invoice we can code in particular GL account, the system will learn that over time and it will be very accurate, will place that spends into that GL account. In the past, with other processes, this is not as simple. You will require the manual manipulation and somebody validating that particular GL code. So the technology is there. Let's use it.
Also, I've seen there are so many solutions in the industry, specifically OCR. Why do you think the current OCRs are not, sufficient to understand the content of an invoice? And is it a big handicap?
Well, it is. Let's describe what OCRs is, which is the optical character recognition. And this technology is very good to basically convert PDFs and images into text, but it has a little bit of struggles with consistency to do it that. On the other hand, the natural language processing is not only able to recognize and transfer the images to text, but also understand the context behind that images on text. So it's able to learn by itself, which you will never find in the OCR technology because it wasn't meant to be like that. So that's what now with AI, we will be able to kind of do the end-to-end process in a way that is not as fragmented as we talk about.
Diverse formats, unstructured data, and lack of standards it's the reality. Is that the primary challenge for straight through processing? And what exactly can be done to address all of these?
Well, you have, this is something that I say I am a process person usually. So when I look at current states of processes, I always start with the process and then we bring the technology that can fix the process or can help the process, not to fix the process. But in this particular case, the technology is the one leading the process because the technology now we're able to push through the data from end to end. So my recommendation is make sure you understand your processes in the beginning and standardize those formats, making sure your vendors understand those formats, and then use the technology to push through the data, validate the data, capture the data, and making sure it goes directly to the ERP without much manual intervention, unless you want it to be, right? There are pieces that you say, no, I don't want to go directly to my ERP until I approve certain expenses. So that those are the gate points that you can put through the system to make sure that you have the controls that you want.
Also, few obstacles for straight through processing of invoices are like inaccurate data in the invoice, or supplier side error, duplicate invoices. How to address these challenges?
Well, the beauty about Hyperbots specifically, because I have seen it, is that the technology can not only read the data, understand the errors, make sure it stops any invoices that have the errors, and then also provide recommendations. So there is a lot of good stages through the process that somebody can say, oh, here I have the error, here I have inaccuracies. So that's the beauty of having first a robust standardization, but also a good process.
Understood. And from a regulatory standpoint, Claudia, what regulatory and compliance aspect should be evaluated for straight through processing of invoices?
Well, from an accounting point of view, there are a lot of controls that you need, right? So you need the audit trails to make sure there is transparency in the transactions. You need the tax regulation that when you have invoices from different countries, different tax regulations, the system also has the flexibility to grab those types of regulations. And any inaccuracies through the process also can grab them or stop them, right? And data security, we all concerned about data security to make sure that all the data that goes through the system is secure and we protect sensitive information.
And just to wind things up, the last question that I wanted to ask you, Claudia, is What advancements in AI can help achieve straight through processing to the highest possible degree?
Well, AI has different levels of technology, right? So we have the machine learning algorithms, which it will help extract the information from the invoices. Then we have the natural language processing, which will be able to learn by itself and predict, make recommendations. And so that's basically the magnificent view of this technology, right? That this is something that we were not able to do before. And then we have the advanced analytics. And so now we combine all these factors into a system like Hyperbots, and we will be able to truly do it end to end. That's what I said. In this particular process, technology leads it, and I'm very happy to see it that a Hyperbots has been able to put it all together for us and just see the ROI come through.
Thank you so much, Claudia, for talking to us about the different challenges that the industry is facing with straight through processing of invoices and also suggesting a couple of different measures. It was a really, really fruitful discussion, really insightful one. So, thank you so much for joining us today.
No, thank you, Emily. Thank you for having me.